I just had to draw and document mine for my compliance documentation, David.
Yeah, I don't do any of that.
See, this is what he does because he knows he's in Charlotte. He's so far away. I can't snatch his eyes out.
You're listening to the Help Me with HIPAA podcast, where HIPAA and humor collide to make learning fun. Your delightful hosts are Donna Grindle and David Sims. Relax. HIPAA help is on the way.
Welcome to the Help Me with HIPAA podcast. My name is David Sims of HIPAA for MSPs and Security First IT. Joining me is Donna Grindle of Carden. How's it going, Donna?
Good. And you, David?
I am doing quite well today.
You can tell we're recording at the end of the day, not the beginning of the day like we normally do.
I know. Yeah. So we both go out there and we work our tails off all day long. We get exhausted and then we come out here and decide to record a podcast. Give it our best.
Sometimes this is why we do it on Friday mornings normally, but things get a little busy for us during the summertime. Well, things get busy for us all the time.
Yeah, they do. But today we have a pretty good show. I'm pretty eager to get into it because I deal with this a lot. And I'm sure you probably do too in a different manner. But before we dive into the episode, where are you going to be coming up?
Where's Waldo? Hi. Well, I'm doing the Healthcare Cybersecurity Officer live webinar workshop. So this comes out on September 7th, I think. And so that means, wow, man, time is flying. I can't believe it's September 2018. Okay, I've had that little moment now. So September 12th, 13th, 19th, and 20th, you get to have a lunch and learn moment with me, or at least spend the middle of the day for an hour hearing me talk about how awesome it is to use the NIST cybersecurity framework and HIPAA in conjunction to be a healthcare cybersecurity officer.
Cool.
And then October 18th, we're doing the Georgia Pediatric Practice Administrators Keynote. And that will be fun because I love those guys. And
right
then the next week, October 25th and 26th, the last Thursday and Friday.
What day is that again?
October 25th and 26th, the last Thursday and Friday in October.
So if you caught any of the past episodes other than last week, there might have been some wrong information in there is all I'm saying.
Yeah. The dates may have been messed up. You didn't hear it wrong. We just said it wrong. But hey, when you go to register, it tells you the right things. So,
yeah, that's all that matters.
Yeah. And that's when Chris is like, you have screwed everything up. Let me fix it.
So the HIPAA Boot Camp, for those of you who do not know, is a live 2-day intensive training held in Tucker, Georgia. And if you want to know more about that, you can go to thehipaabootcamp.com. All the information is there, as well as a couple minute or so audio clip where Don and I are talking about what it entails. Very good stuff.
Yes, the intensity of it's a combo: consulting with us, training, risk management, planning. All of that's happening in 2 very intense days. So,
yes,
y'all, come on now. You hear?
So check that out. All right. So if you like today's show, and there's no reason you should, then you should like it on social media. Share it out. Do all you can. Hey, look, we asked a few weeks ago for more like reviews and stuff. People are not stepping up. Getting a little upset here.
Yeah. Y'all are going to have to listen to him talk about nothing but reviews.
I'm going to get on my soapbox. All I asked for, I can't get peanuts here, so I have to get reviews. So, come on, feed me the reviews, people. So I know you're listening. I see the numbers. There's thousands of people listening. Come on, take some time, do some reviews. You're already on Facebook doing other stuff. Anyway, all right. So let me get off that soapbox. So in today's show, we're going to talk about securing home networks because we have a lot of people that work from home or that work from home sometimes. And sometimes it's the C-suite people. Sometimes it's the, a worker that may get to work from home. And a lot of times they don't think about what does it mean to secure that part of your job.
Yeah, it's a bigger deal than what most people tend to apply to it when they first think about, I'm going to work from home. Mm-hmm. But I did want to make note. I'm making note of this because this is kind of one of those put a stake in the ground, see if the crystal ball works. Mm-hmm. So this week it came out that there was another big Apache Struts vulnerability, like a major one. And this is the same kind of thing that came out, and they issued a patch, which they've done this time, but it didn't get installed, and that's what created the opening for the Equifax breach. So here we've got another one, hopefully, and this is stuff that runs on big major websites, so just keep in mind, here's another one. Lock
Equifax.
and load.
Are you listening? Equifax, anybody?
Anyway, please install this one. But working from home, and I love that there's so many different phrases that people have used for this, teleworking, telecommuting, working remotely, working from home, and my favorite now is WFH.
Which is?
Working from home. I'm WFH.
So we call it a distributed workforce.
Yeah, there you go. I say I have a virtual company. And then I realized that my company actually exists. We're just not brick and mortar. We don't use brick and mortar.
Yeah. See, we recently started allowing everybody to work from home if they wanted to on Fridays, and we document that as our training for instant response and disaster recovery. So we know that the entire company can function. If we can't be in the same place in the office and all that, we are testing that every Friday.
Hey, that's a good idea.
Pretty cool.
As long as you can get to a signal. We know this, for most people, working from home is a really good thing. Some people aren't well suited for that. They're more social and they need that interaction, because if you're working from home all of the time, it can get quite lonely if you don't have somebody else kind of participating with you. But for the most part,
get a dog.
Get a dog. Then you can't get anything done. But for the most part, it's positive for employees, and they get less time on the road, less expense commuting. There's a lot of things that they get the value from it, and then you get the employers. They don't have to pay for the office space, the power. There's a lot of overhead that goes into having an employee. Most employees don't realize how much they cost us, do they, David?
They absolutely do not realize that.
Yeah. So every minute you're chit-chatting with somebody, that's the meter running on the taxi right there. So, but the bottom line, though, is that it does help everybody. And it's become such a thing. It was huge news. I mean, it was on all these different news services that I follow when Marissa Mayer took over at Yahoo and had said she was going to ban working from home. And I'm like, I don't see in this day and age how that's going to work out. I just don't. And as it turns out, that they found out, just from asking around a couple of years later, that, yeah, people do work from home. It may not be as prevalent as it was, but, the action may have made people look at it differently. But they did then prompt a study done at Stanford, and those folks, some of the best nerds around. But according to them, they say the article shows the astonishing productivity boost. So in it, they found that they believe that in there they did a big study and they tried to make all things equal. This group works at home. This group works at the office. And the home workers in their 2-year study actually were more productive by almost 2 full days a week.
Wow.
So it was really interesting. There's a link to the article. But anyway, there's a lot of positive findings. So everybody's interested in it. It's all great. It's helpful. And those of us who work long hours, we love that ability to be able to go home and work. But in the real world, there's more to it. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So then you come home and then you connect to your office, or you start doing things online with all of your patient data, because I know I've seen people that threw charts in the back of the car. I'm like, I'm going home to work for this weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. They go flying out on the highway. But there is, there's several stories, but this is one that we know. And it's where, it's a small company employee took their laptop home to catch up on work. I believe the laptop wasn't supposed to be going to home networks, but it did. Everybody does it, But then let their kid access the kid's email on the work laptop.
Dum, dum, dum.
So what happened was...
Yeah, I can guess what happened.
Well, to me, kids are, they're the germy people because it just doesn't occur to them that they're coated in germs all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they, wipe their runny nose with their hand and then reach up and put it on your face and stuff like that. But
and they do the same online.
And they do it with the computers too. So the kid opened up an attachment that released a very, very nasty computer worm onto the laptop, but it didn't get detected because of the way it got loaded and so on and so forth. And then the computer goes back to work, plug it in, turn it on.
Yeah. Bad things happen.
Yeah, can you imagine that day, David?
Yeah, actually I can.
Yeah, so let's talk about when you say you deal with this all the time. We're going to go into things that you need to think about from the business perspective of letting people work from home or having people work from home, as well as the things you need to worry about securing your home network. But let's talk a little bit more real world mess before we get into those, so you're motivated to do these things.
Okay, I'm ready.
Hit it. You said you deal with this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And why do you deal with this all the time?
Well, we often have clients that either, like I said earlier, the C-suite people may decide they want to work from home or they're going on vacation and they want to be able to connect back. But more often than not, we usually have somebody, an employee that they decided, look, we're going to let this employee work from home, or we hired somebody, they could be states away and we're going to let them work from home. We don't have an office space for them. And so we start having the conversation with them about their network and how they're going to safely and securely connect that device, especially if it's coming back into the office, which often happens. Mm-hmm. And it's usually fairly eye-opening for them, but they also don't understand it. So there's a lot of education at school around, why can't I just get online? Why do I need all this extra security? And I'm running the free antivirus, so what do I need to worry about? Lots of education has to go into that part of it.
And it's education on both sides.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just it's the same reason, on the flip side of the employee taking the laptop, we don't want them to bring their Alexa in and put it at the desk so that they can play whatever they want music-wise.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's if you bring home stuff in and plug it into the work network or to your work computer, because if it's connected to it is still connected. That is what a cable does. It connects. But
yeah,
that it's because we can't account for that security. Well, you've got to educate both sides about all the things you've got to worry about. And from a business perspective, you got to determine, how are you going to secure their access? What are you going to allow access to? How are you going to make sure that the employee understands all these things and is trained on it? And you have to do audits on it and all of those kind of things. And then from the employee's perspective, you actually have to secure your home network, which is rarely done unless somebody tells you to do it, or you're a nerd.
Yep. And then there's always the thing about you can't. It's difficult to secure the home network when you really need to not secure part of it as well, if that makes sense. Because when the kids want to run around and play on their PlayStations and they want to do all this other stuff, you start funneling all that traffic through the security router, or what we call UTM, that starts creating a lot of overhead for the network, and a lot of things are happening. So it's very complicated in that you have to segment things out. Sometimes you have to create two completely different networks, and one's protected, one's whatever they want to do with it.
Yeah.
and never the twain shall meet.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really, I mean, it's almost like you're better off having two separate internet connections in a lot of ways.
You absolutely are. It's easier that way, but it's hard to get somebody to understand. Why do I have to pay for the internet twice again?
In the end, it might be cheaper to be able to just secure this one network. That's it. That's all you do on it. We secure it. You don't hook anything to it. You don't know how. Boom, you're good to go. But in the end, the bottom line that we all need to eventually learn is until we secure our home networks better, the bad guys are going to have plenty of things to keep them busy, and therefore plenty of reasons for them to continue to attack us and make money off of us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So it's better to actually secure your network, whether or not you're working from home. Go ahead and do this to protect yourselves.
Word.
And what?
that's word.
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 Word up.
That's an 80s reference. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. I know. I was there.
You sure? Do you remember that?
Many parts of it. But when we look at from our when we go in with our clients, we're looking at it from a different perspective than David. We're looking at it from a big overview and saying, here's all the stuff you got to worry about. David is having to come in and get them to worry about it and figure out how to solve the problems. So there's always two pieces to it. Is somebody's figuring out all of the big picture, which is that assessment, and guess what? Risk analysis.
Yes.
I know.
So
it's a dirty word.
Usually when I bring that up, they're just like, okay, fine, just do whatever you need to do. If I've got to go through a risk analysis, just do it.
Yeah, just do it. I don't care.
Just document why you did it. I don't want to go through a risk analysis.
So from the beginning, from an employee standpoint, you have your list of things to worry about, but your employer should have you meet certain requirements. So that idea of, well, why can't I just start working? Well, you should have a certain list of requirements that will be met on your home network and things that you will do with systems that will be allowed to access. So if I don't give you one and you want to use your home computer, we've got a whole new list of issues. But essentially, you have to treat yourself like a remote office because that's essentially what you are.
Yeah, it's a home office. But don't be mistaken that you go to the big box store and buy something that says home office router or home office whatever. That's not what we're referring to for security.
No, that just means we'll get you connected for more than one computer in your house. But as an employer, I should have a list that says, here's how I'm going to secure things. Here's all of the things I'm going to require that the staff agree to do on their own network, and who's responsible for making sure those things are done. Because if my staff doesn't understand in the first place what a router is, how can I say they're responsible for making sure that the router's admin password's changed?
Right. Or firmware is updated. That's something that never happens.
Oh, yeah, that too. So you have to keep that in mind as an employer, that your staff is not going to have professional IT support. And yes, they may have their husband that works in IT, but you don't know what IT they work in.
I'm biting my tongue.
What?
I'm going to bite my tongue on that one.
Well, just because they know how to work with the big enterprise networks and they've worked in those and they understand Windows networking that is built around all of the capabilities of this massive network, that somebody else has figured out all of the pieces and parts to secure it. and this individual has limited access to those things, that doesn't mean that they know how to come into a little bitty network and make all those decisions. Now, maybe they do, but it's not an automatic.
No. Yeah, I have a friend of mine. He works for a local, let's say, energy company that's fairly large, and he's a director of IT. And a few years ago, he came to me with a problem, and it was a problem he was having with the computer. And of course, they got hundreds of IT people, and I was like, "Why are you asking me this?" And he's like, "We don't usually fix stuff. We just nuke and pave everything. We just reload the image on everything. We don't fix stuff."
Yeah. I don't have to figure this out at work.
No, if it doesn't work, we just re-image it. I'm like, That must be nice. We actually have to fix stuff in my line of work.
Yeah, it's not, there's not something you just shift resources over there, fix this thing here, rebalance. You don't have those tools. And you certainly don't have to worry about the level of things that you do in a small network. So there's a lot of assumptions that people make, and we always laugh about it, is, oh, you work in IT, you two probably have things to talk about. Well, we can maybe.
Yeah.
What do you work in? Well, I code in C# and, I make video games.
Cool.
Probably
I know
not
Ruby.
A lot of things. Yeah. Tell me something. We're not going to have a lot to talk about. However, as you may guess, there are plenty of things that I need to know how to do if I'm going to be having a home network and secure it. So you got to, as an employer, decide, are you going to call David and have him go do some of this stuff?
I'll do it.
Yeah, at least, be able to vet whoever's going to be doing it. That here, you call our IT folks, whoever's going to handle the IT on your network has to call our IT folks, and they're going to decide whether or not the people really understand what we're requiring. I mean, it could be that simple.
Right.
And, David charges a lot for that, but.
Because I'm worth it, baby.
You're wrong in so many ways. But the bottom line is, you've got to know. You've got to know how you're going to secure it internally. You're going to know these people need to be trained to understand what all of this stuff means and why it matters. They need to be trained to understand that you can't just let your kids use the same computer that you do work on. Period. I know if you only have one, you need to get another one for work. Don't get another one for the kids, because that one's already mucked up. I am sure of it.
Yeah, you
it
would
needs
not,
to be nuked.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe how many times we go into, the higher ups, and even in their office computers. The kids came in one day and they were going to be there for about an hour. Next thing you know, there's all these games on the system. And I'm like, what?
How'd this happen?
Yeah, what happened here? Well, they wanted to play Fortnite, so they just downloaded it and started playing.
Yeah. The kids will click yes, okay. They don't look.
Yeah.
They just go. Boop, 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 boop.
This guy sent me this file and said I could get like a bunch of free stuff if I clicked on it to build my character up.
Yeah, and that's what they're after. They know who their targets are. So here, get a new outfit for your sim.
Yeah.
What? Okay. Anyhow, these are the things that you don't know that mean something to your kids, and you just kind of blow right on by it. But that's where you need to back up and go, whoa. How'd you get that? And what did you load on the computer and all those kind of things? But
bunch of little criminals.
But you have to make sure that you worry about things like firmware and passwords on your modems and your routers or whatever you're using. You have to make sure that you have real antivirus and malware software and all of those kind of things in place.
Can I say that on your note?
I have to tell you that Krista made that note, so we can blame Krista for. She said, "Not the free sugar honey iced tea."
That is the bane of an IT person.
No, it is.
Do not.
We can use free stuff. We just don't want you to.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I love the one where it's, I'm using the baked in Microsoft, Windows Defender thing. I don't need antivirus. That does it, right?
We consider that, kind of like, oh, the house came with a frame.
Yeah. I mean, it's better
I
than
gotta
nothing.
put stuff in it, but yeah.
Well, sometimes I think maybe it's better than nothing. I'm not sure.
I still leave it running now. Used to, I'd turn it off because it caused so many problems. Now it doesn't really cause any, but it also, I haven't seen it really stop anything that others have stopped. But it doesn't mean it's horrid. It may be stopping things.
Yeah.
But anyway, you need to decide what you want your staff to have. And then you also have to worry about IoT devices. And we've talked about this
A bunch. And we'll continue to talk about it a bunch, I'm sure.
Yeah. There's just a long list of vulnerabilities that these things have. And you don't know. I mean, come on. It's things like, we talk about Alexa because, come on. It's so much fun to talk about that. But you watch those commercials where the people are able to tap something and look at what's in the refrigerator from the grocery store. No. Yeah. Number one, no. So you got those. You got smart TVs. Oh my goodness, you have Xbox 360s and Nintendo Switches and Wii's and PlayStations and layers of those kind of things. And Lord knows what's happened on those.
Mm-hmm. And now my vacuum cleaner is on my Wi-Fi.
Oh, did you break down and do it?
Did I break down and do it? No. I come home and the Roomba's running around the house. But fortunately, they can only connect to one segmented Wi-Fi. So,
there you go. But see, you knew you had to make it be segmented, which is a great segue of segmentation. That if you are going to have all these things, then break them out, put them on separate networks. So you can have, we have a guest network and then a basic network and then 2 different speed Wi-Fi networks and then a wired network. And I'm splitting off the wired network into 2 other networks now.
Mm-hmm. I'm there with you.
You get it?
I'm there with you. I don't know. I'd have to look. Last time I counted, I think I had 6 or 8 different Wi-Fi networks set up.
See, I just had to draw and document mine for my compliance documentation, David.
Yeah, I don't do any of that.
See, this is what he does because he knows he's in Charlotte. He's so far away. I can't snatch his eyes out. Back to the list at hand. But if you are going to have a lot of devices, which is what people don't realize, how many devices are actually on their networks at work or at home.
Mm-hmm.
You got your phones and the tablets and just on and on and on and on and on. So if you don't do that assessment and figure out all these things that can happen, it'll happen. So keeping that in mind is one thing, is that you need to either just bring in your own separate internet connection that is only allowed to be used for work, or you've got to worry about configuring these things. And you certainly are not going to share that computer with family or friends or anybody.
No.
Period. No one gets to log into that thing.
What about connecting to your neighbor's Wi-Fi because it's open? No. You said I needed a separate internet connection, so I borrowed the neighbor's.
Yeah. Y'all, we're going to need to be done soon because David is just crispy fried. Listen at him.
I see the stuff, though. I'm telling you, I see these
things
happen.
Do.
Okay.
So
anyway,
keep in mind that your workstation policies that you have at the office essentially should be in place at home in the home office. If you say you can't leave paperwork laying around, you can't leave paperwork laying around. If it says you got to log off, then you got to log off. It should be all of the same kind of physical security things in place. And certainly if you're dealing with paper, you better have a whole list of ideas of what you're going to do. As David mentioned, throwing them in the back of the car.
Mm-hmm.
And I know somebody told me I wasn't thinking one Friday, and I put them in the back, and then I thought, what a beautiful day. Let me put the top down. Thankfully, I didn't get very far. Nothing flew out. I just kind of picked up the pace and went, whoa, back off. So keep in mind, all of these kind of things about remote access, you may need to be worrying about those for your business associates as well. I mean, why not ask your business associate, how does your staff connect to my network? And are these kinds of things in place? And especially if you got, you're doing a independent contractor for transcription maybe, or for billing or coding or any of those things, and they're just doing your work once or twice a week and they're keeping you up. There a lot of people use that kind of scenario. Those are the ones you really should worry about because they should be doing those same things. Mm-hmm. And your BAA should be on file, and you need to be worried about those things with those, single one-off subcontractors. So anything else you would like to add to this discussion, David?
I am not saying a word.
You're encouraging bad behavior.
I am not encouraging.
I'm sitting here not even, I'm doing all the right things and sharing them with you, and then you go off down your own little path and say, well, I don't do any of that.
But isn't that what the clients do? You're telling them what to do and then they go off and do something different?
Yes.
Okay.
But at least I'm saying the right things. I'm trying to do the right things. I practice what I preach.
I don't get paid to do that part.
So there are some resources online.
As George
that can
would
help
say,
you.
This is the part where David screws everything up.
I know.
George, I got that email.
That was great.
I know you're listening, George. Anyway.
Yeah, we do get a kick out of those that email us, so feel free to do so. Especially if you're going to make fun of David, I'm all in. And but know that we've got links, we've got other things in the list and those kind of things on the website, so feel free to go there. Check those out. They'll also be in your little bonus package on the app if you're listening on the app. And there's links to the website from the YouTube site. So you got no excuse for not listening and following what we tell you to do.
We got more links in a sausage factory.
Oh, God. And we should have brought up at the beginning the on Quora, which is a question or answer site that I go out and answer HIPAA questions that people have from time to time. And somebody posted on there this weekend on Friday. They posted, is there any other HIPAA podcast besides Help Me with HIPAA? I've already listened to all of them.
And, so whoever you are, thanks.
Whoever you are. Awesome. Thank you.
But the answer to your question is no.
This is the best one there is. And we got, it's just, there's a lot of folks that do an episode or two. And I was actually on the compliance. Geez, I'm drawing a complete blank, but I'll have it on the website. But nobody does it a full-time HIPAA discussion on a podcast like this. So every week we're back here doing what we have to do for the community.
Yep.
And I make a huge sacrifice having to do it.
A huge what?
A huge sacrifice having to do it with David.
That is the highlight of your week. That's why we do it on Friday.
I'm not even going to touch that one. So go ahead.
People don't believe that because if we skip a week, she's like calling me up going, I miss you so much, buddy.
There's really no need in even responding to that one. It's so absurd. So, okay, so some resources that are available. US CERT, which is the United States Computer Emergency Readiness Team. And we talked in the last episode about ready.gov. Mm-hmm. US CERT has a lot of these things available out there. They talk about home and business security on your networks. And we'll have some other little links to some articles that kind of tell you the things that are really out there that you may not realize.
Yeah. So it's not just Donna coming up with stuff.
I know. Believe it or not.
All right, folks, that is our show for today. We told you we'd love it. Well, we did. Remember to share out this show on your favorite social media site. Rate us. Rate the podcast. Come on, people. Spread the word. Get it out there. Don't forget HIPAA Bootcamp, thehipaabootcamp.com. For Donna and myself, don't forget that HIPAA is not about compliance. It's about patient care.
You've been listening to the Help Me with HIPAA podcast, hosted by Donna Grindle and David Sims. The show created to help you with HIPAA. For more information or to ask us a question, visit our website at helpmewithhipaa.com. Neither Donna Grindle or David Sims are attorneys, and they do not offer binding legal advice concerning regulatory compliance. The information in this podcast should not be relied upon or construed as legal advice in any way. Consult your attorney for legal advice concerning compliance with HIPAA regulations.